So whenever I say go, just do a 5-second
Yep.
count.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Hi, this is Grant Cameron, and I'm going to do a little promo, a little intro for an orb presentation that I'll be doing live on YouTube this evening. It was about a week ago I got an orb photo from a friend of mine, Mark Olson in Winnipeg, and the same day I saw a truck moving down the street that was creating a huge amount of dust. And I immediately tried to get my phone to photograph the dust, because a lot of people will say, well, orbs are caused by dust. And I figure, well, I got to photograph this dust, even though I've seen other people photograph dust and no orbs show up. And it was at that point I decided that I wanted to actually gather together the evidence for what we have in terms of orbs. And what I discovered is it didn't take me very long to get a whole pile of material. And number two, there's been very little research done on it. Gaia did one documentary, but really there is nothing. Basically what we're doing when it comes to orb research is what we've done back in ufology, is we're just using belief systems. A lot of people believe that we actually are sort of evaluating things and we are, scientifically operating. We aren't doing anything of the sort. I refer to research was done by Dr. Fred Travis, and he talks about the fact that a lot of what we have is just basically built upon our belief systems. The example he gives is a test that was done a number of years ago with police officers in order to train them. Are they under attack, or do they need to pull their gun? And what they were shown was a film of a youth, and the youth was pulling something out of his pocket. And the question was, is it a gun or is it an iPod? Now it would be a cell phone. So what they found after doing this test is that when it was a youth of color, 85% of the police officers said it was a gun. If it was a youth, a white youth wearing a hoodie, pulling something out of his pocket, 85% of the police officers believed it was an iPod. So it came down to this idea that that is a belief system that's built into us. The other one that Dr. Fred Travis brought up is even more revealing. That is to do with, they did a test with sports fans in New York and Boston. And what they would do is show them videos, and they would wire them up to monitor their brain. And what they discovered was they would show them a video of a sporting event. And when a player of their team got injured during that sporting event, the empathy center in the brain would light up. But if it was a member of the opposition team, the pleasure center would light up in the brain. And people will say, well, that's really not indicative. That's just crazy sports fans. But Travis pointed out quite correctly, if you're on a freeway and you're going like 70 miles an hour and you look over on the inbound freeway and you see that they're completely stopped, how do you feel? Absolutely joyful. You have no empathy for those people on the other side of the freeway. And this is what he was bringing out, and this is what I've discovered in ufology, that the vast majority of the stuff we do is based upon what is called the left brain interpreter. Now, the left brain interpreter is a discovery that was made by neuroscience back in the 1970s and 80s by the same Nobel Prize winning lab that won for split brain research, right brain, left brain. And what they would do in this research is they would send a signal to the right brain, which can't talk, and they would get a person to do something, and then they would ask the person, so now they're talking to the left brain, and they would say, why did you do that? And well, of course, the right brain can't tell you why it did that, and the left brain has no idea why a person drank a Coke or got up and walked around or whatever. And what they discovered was there's an item in the left brain. It's the size of a peanut, and it basically, its job is when the world becomes inconsistent, it is there to fill a hole. So there's a hole in the worldview. Suddenly the world doesn't make any sense anymore. And this is where skepticism comes from. And so what it would be is you see an orb in your house, and if you believe it's we're biological robots in a random meaningless universe, there can't be an orb in your house. These things cannot exist. Or an intelligent alien type being standing at the foot of your bed. This can't. So immediately the world becomes inconsistent, and this left brain interpreter, which is to neurology what altar boys are to priests, it's something which they just do not talk about because it's so damaging to neurology, is the fact that this left brain interpreter will make something up. And what they discovered in the 70s and 80s when they were doing these tests is that it is literally wrong every single time. So a lot of what we have when we're guessing at things, when the skepticism comes in and says, oh, there can be alternate explanations to what's going on, every time it's wrong. And it is based upon belief systems, almost like Stanton Friedman says. And what Stanton Friedman said was, skeptics will say, don't bother me with the evidence, my mind is already made up. That is as true as 1 and 1 is equal to 2, based upon my 45 years experience. So what the Orb presentation tonight is going to be about is to basically shut down Mr. Stupid in the left brain, get it to be quiet long enough so we can actually gather the evidence. And as I said, I've been doing this for less than a week. I have hundreds of Orb photographs. I got people from all around the world. I have a panel of about 15 people who are going to appear, who are going to come on, and I have their photos. I have them in a giant PowerPoint presentation. And as those people come forward, their photographs come forward, these Orb photographs, they're going to describe how they took the photograph, what the photograph means, and what they think it is. So what you have to do in science is you have to shut up long enough to gather all the evidence. That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to gather all the evidence. You're going to see photographs, and I would say 98% of these photographs you have never seen before. And I'm going to show them, and then we probably will only go for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours showing these photographs. And then next week, what we'll do is we'll take the same panel of people, whoever wants to show up, and Desta Barnaby and Sinead Wildahan are going to gather questions. And next week, we are going to get the panel to address questions that people might have. So the event starts tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern. It will be on my White House UFO YouTube channel. If you can't get on, you subscribe to the channel, and then beside the channel, there's be a little bell. Mark the bell as all, and you will get a notification that I'm live, and you can go into the event. You can ask questions. The questions will be recorded, and we will try next week to get as many of the questions as possible. But tonight, we're basically going to show the evidence, and the evidence is absolutely overwhelming. This is only a couple of days of gathering material, and there are literally hundreds of photographs and really, really bizarre material. So thanks for listening tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. This is a presentation on Orbs that comes from people all around the world. Thanks for listening.